What is up, guys? We're live. Welcome to this week again. I'm gonna try to do these, start doing these regularly. I'm gonna take a vacation from next week, but we're gonna start now and see how it goes. We have a lot to talk about this week. I have some setups that I wanted to share with you, and also we have a big red week, as you see in the title, which means that we have an economic calendar that shows us red all week around all over the world. So we're gonna look at that. I have a new intro, so let's see that. So, welcome back, guys. Welcome back to this series. As I said, my name is Fefedemini, and I started my YouTube channel. We'll see where it goes. We'll see where life takes me. I started my Twitter as well, so go check that out. If you don't follow me on Twitter, do go and follow me. The link is in my description. Subscribe, hit the like button, all that stuff. And if you're looking at it now on YouTube, then that's a good sign that you already subscribed to YouTube. So let's look at the markets because we have a lot to talk about this week. First, I want to show you Banter Bubbles, which is a pretty cool tool. If you do not use this tool yet, you definitely should. By the way, I just realized that I probably haven't tweeted about me going live, which is an issue. So let's do that. Let's do that. I am live on YouTube. Link in bio. See you there. Cool, let's do it. So Banter Bubbles is a pretty cool tool. I use Banter Bubbles to look at the general market sentiment. You should too. It is very, very nice. You can go in here, you can connect your Twitter account, and then you can chat. Oh, let's do that now. Cool. So crypto my run is up here as well. Already chatting, so you can chat in here, come in here, make sure to be up to date. We also have a research call coming up in about an hour where we discuss a lot of stuff on newsroom, so this is something to look for. You see the market is generally green leading up to this week, which is interesting because it will be a very interesting week. We'll talk about that just now. We have forex factory calendar, economic calendar. I actually made a very great tweet about a Twitter thread about why a calendar. I don't know if the music is just loud in my ears or is this loud. I'm just gonna turn it off. I think it's fun, but we'll just experiment with this. So we have this, I made this Twitter thread for everybody to know what an economic calendar is and how to use it and what the events are. I outline what a, where do we go? I outline all of them. For example, I outline CPI, and then I outline, then I outline PPI, then I outline what PMI and all these means, so you can navigate through it. It's definitely worth a read. It's on my profile. Go check it out. But if you open up the calendar, you see that everything is red. Now, this calendar is actually categorizing all the events based on colors. So if you have a red, I filter, so I only see the red events. That doesn't mean that there are no events today, but it means that most of the events that are impacting the markets majorly are going to go down throughout the week. Tuesday we're going to start with in Australia, Canada, the States. We already have a little bit. If it's orange, then it means it's not a big impact on the market, or it's not necessarily a big impact on the market, but it could be. And then we have China, we have UK, we have New Zealand, we have Switzerland, we have the UK again, we have Japan, we have all these, the Eurozone. We have all these countries and areas and regions having monetary policies or monetary, announcements, numbers, CPI, PPI, GDP, whatnot coming out. So this is definitely something to look for. This is very interesting because I actually, time to time you fell out of your routine as well, and you when you get too much caught into the market, you don't necessarily check this calendar, and when that happens, it happened to me several times. When that happens, you have a perfect setup, and that is simply just ruined because of these events, which is a problem, so you really got to make sure to follow up with these. So today we have nothing, but obviously the markets start pricing in everything that's going to happen throughout the week, so this is something to look for, especially if you're trading the Canadian dollar or the Aussie dollar. Tomorrow is going to be a big event for you, most probably. So let's look at the markets because that's probably what everybody's interested in. So on the DXY, I'm expecting, for anybody who does not know what Siri doesn't understand, so let me explain. I'm not sure, who is familiar or who is not familiar. If you follow my content, you already know the DXY is the leading indicator. So it's basically the dollar measured against a bucket of other currencies. So we have to look, as traders, we always have to look at what the DXY is doing, because that gives us a great indication on what is going to happen in the market, whether it's risk assets, whether it's, anything else. Aaron is in the house. Aaron is in the house. Thanks for the comment, buddy. Nice to see you out here. Also, guys, if you're just joining in, subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, please. Let me know. Just pop a comment in here. I'm happy to reflect on anything. Look at coins, whatnot. Let's build this thing together. So it's very important to look at the DXY. So if you look at the DXY, you see I am expecting a retracement still. Again, if you follow my content, you know this. I'm expecting the DXY to come up here. What is very interesting is that I went onto the monthly today, and if you look at it from 84, it actually makes a little a downtrend, a decent downtrend, where we made a lower high now and could potentially push lower with the bricks coming up and everything else. This could actually very well play out. It looks funny and whatnot, but this could actually unfortunately be the scenario. Unfortunately, who knows? We'll see. But what I wanted to say is that we are completing potentially a 50% retracement on the DXY, and that would put us to about 106, 108, which I think would be the top for the DXY. And we will have to look for lower time frame confirmations for reversal anywhere above the 50, which is between the 106 and between the 113. I do not see us going up to 113. Max I see is 110. 110 is the max, and then most probably is around the 108 region. That's where I'm gonna be thinking that we are reversing on the DXY and potentially going all the way down to sub 100 or even lower, like sub 90, sub 80, especially if this monthly chart that I just showed you actually do play out. We do have some liquidity here, which is a great indication. These relatively cool lows. So that could be a great indication that we are going to take this and then possibly, push all the way down to this 80 region, which would be crazy, but you can never know. We've got to keep an eye. We as traders, what do? We react on the market. We look at the market. We see what comes, and then we take it. So yeah, that's about the DXY. DXY is going to push up potentially. Maybe takes a breath. Maybe comes back down to this 104 and maybe 103 region. But ideally, or like overall, I think we're going to have a decent push up to the 106 region. Let's look at the total market cap. Guys, if you're just joining in, let me know in the comments what you want me to analyze. I'm going to look at some of the crypto coins as well and some forex pairs, but just let me know what's up. Say hi in the comments so we can take it from there. So let's look at the total market cap. Now, the total market cap follows the DXY, right? So if the total market cap is going to go up, that means that most probably the DXY is going to have to retrace a little bit, which could happen. This is what I'm saying, like, which could happen, that we see the DXY retracing, taking a breath now, coming back down to this region, or even completing a 50% here. I don't think that's happening, but could be completing a 50% to the 102 region, and that would put the DXY, the total market cap, in a very great position to push a little higher. Now you could recognize this chart because it exactly looks like, or mostly looks like Bitcoin's chart, because they are very much correlated. But what I am looking at, what I'm eyeing, is actually a push towards this 1.07, 1.08 region, trillion region, and a potential rejection, unfortunately. So a push here and then a rejection. But what is kind of bugging me, so first of all, we made a relative equal lows here, right? So that means liquidity. What is bugging me though is that there is not much liquidity now left here. So we took all this liquidity. Depending on how we're going to go up, if we are going to chop up to this region, that's a very great indication that we are going to reject from that. If we are not chopping up, let's say this week's data is just gonna rocket Bitcoin up to these regions, that is a great indication for us that we might push higher and we might retest this 1.1, 1.3 trillion region, which could be which is the 4-hour point of interest up here, dump base dump. So that could be interesting. This is one scenario that I'm looking at. I'm definitely looking at the total at around 1.06 ish. Sorry about that, 1.06 ish, and then if we don't reject from there, then going above. Now, what does the total 3 do? I don't really talk about the total 3. I haven't really talked about the total 3 that much, but it is interesting. We have a massive liquidity built up here. Why is this interesting? It is interesting because we know when alts rocket, so the total 3 is, it says here, the crypto total market cap excluding Bitcoin and Ethereum. So basically anything in the crypto market, and all the tokens except Bitcoin and Ethereum, and the market cap of those tokens. So what is interesting here is that when when alts pop massively. So alts don't pop like, you know, 2%, 3%. I see people calling a bull market now. You know, I see people calling a bull market, and they're like, "Oh yeah, we're rocketing and whatnot" on crypto Twitter, when they're talking about a 0.3% move, 0.5% move. Like, when the next phase comes, when the next bull market comes, it is gonna be extreme. And when extreme, I mean you will wake up and you will see your portfolio up 30, 50, 40, whatever, 70%. And that is going to happen. And for that, we need a catalyst. We need volume coming to the market. We need a little bit more confidence and whatnot. But ultimately, that is going to be a goal. So if you look back here, what I wanted to show you, if you look back here, you will see that we built up a massive liquidity. We also have liquidity here on the bottom, not that much, but we do have liquidity here on the bottom as well, which is interesting to consider. So we need to plan what we will do in either scenarios. So first of all, what I see is that we broke a major level here. So we broke a major level here. We created an MSS, which is a market structure shift. And that means that we have a decent, first of all, we created it here, right? No, we didn't. Yeah, exactly. We didn't create it here. So we have a decent chance of going higher. Why? Because we came back down to a very decent daily demand zone right here. We popped and we have created a market structure shift. We changed character. The market changed character. We turned bullish. And then we're coming down with an intraday structure as well, internal structure as well. Massive liquidity. Massive liquidity. And then when we're coming down, we retest the daily demand zone on the pop, right? So what I see is that we could actually see a rally in alts, and that might be just shorten, might be just, you know, up and retest this region here, which would be around 377 billion ish, or actually having, you know, a decent turnaround and starting to rock it out on the weekly. You know, that would require us to break at least this level. So we need to break through the 414 level on the total 3 to confirm that we are going to start taking the liquidity here, and then potentially push for a 50% up to the premium, which would put us to like 500 to 600 billion at least. And the next potential level, the next point of interest for me would be 640 billion ish. So that could be like 100% push from here, 112% push from here, which would be pretty interesting. So just to follow up the scenario, the bullish scenario is that which I see playing out is that we are going to push from here and then actually claim the high, which will be the weekly strong high, which will be around 413. Let me put this up here. I don't know. Okay, let's look at this. Okay, so that would be around 413. If we take that high, we can potentially see this would be a great entry, so we can see a retracement and then get in here. So when we see this happening, we have to enter. That's the bullish scenario. The bearish scenario would be rather to, you know, just unfortunately see the Dixie pushing even higher, or, you know, the soft landing, hard landing, whatever is coming, we don't know, but the crypto market bleeding. And if that happens, I mean, unfortunately, the problem is that the next weekly point of interest is down at the 100 billion mark, which would be devastating for us. Like, it's the 90% from here. I would be very sad if that happened. This is why I think we built up a lot of liquidity. Ultimately, actually, I think, and we're gonna talk about Bitcoin in a second. Ultimately, I think we are going to see a rally now, and ultimately, I think that the rally that we are going to see is going to be a trap. But that leads into Bitcoin. So what do I see in Bitcoin? Guys, if you're just joining in, please subscribe to the channel, hit that like button, let me know in the comments what you want me to analyze and what we should look at. Let's build this thing together. I want to do this every mornings, and then we can look at it. Also, if you don't follow me on Twitter, do follow me on Twitter. I'll put it up here. Boom. You can see it here. And also let me know how you like this. I truly appreciate your input. Okay, Bitcoin. everybody's excited about Bitcoin. Why? Because I was long here. You already get the point. I was long. So I was long here because we broke above this level, which was a major level here. We broke above this high, which indicated me that we are going to see a very decent push, and we did see the push, but it's not like I started going. I actually got on long here. It's a 4% move. I actually sold this morning because I see the week that's coming up. You know, we talked about this. If you just joining in, economic calendar, very important. If you look at the week, you see what's happening. It is very risky to stay in the market on leverage trade. I'm not saying that you should sell your spot positions just yet, but I'm saying that if you're in a leverage trade, it might be a great idea to sell. And again, not financial advice. So anyway, so what I saw is that we came down to this. We took all the liquidity. We actually held on to the daily demand zone. Now this is also something super important. I wanted to show you this. So if you look at this, I had a discussion on Crypto School, which you by the way should join Crypto School because it's pretty awesome. But we had a decent discussion, and the idea came up. You know, whether the perpetual context. So if you write in, you know, BTC USDT, and then if you have a P at the end, what does that mean, and is that important? That means perpetual. That means that that's a futures contract, that's a CFD, that you basically don't buy the underlying asset of that. You just bet on the price going up or down, and you can borrow money from the exchange to do it. Now I can do a separate video on that if that's interesting, but what I wanted to say with this is that if you look at the perpetual contract, right? If you look at the perpetual the difference between the spot and the perpetual chart, that's what I wanted to say, and you look at candles, what you will see is that on the spot, this is the spot chart, meaning this is the actual asset. This is not leverage, this is not borrowed money, this is the actual asset. If you look at this, you will see here that there is no break below the strong low. That means that this is a valid demand zone. So if you look at this, it is not as strong as it was because on the weekly we do not see a clear break above like here. So here we do see a decent break. Here we do see a decent break above. I cannot show you. I cannot scale in because of this now. But this here was or is a very strong demand. It still is, because we took liquidity up here, we broke above, and we created liquidity and push. But here we could not break these relative equal highs, and that's a problem. That indicates that this might not be as strong of a demand zone as it could be, or as it was on the weekly. That's not a problem though. That's not a problem though, because this could still be a very great demand zone, and it is a very great demand zone. So why I'm saying this is because on the perpetual, what happens is that you open up the perpetual and you will see a wick going below the low. Now, the only reason why that is not relevant is because that's just liquidations from the borrowed money. So people getting way over leveraged, and that over leverage, over exposure to the market actually resulted in a sequence of liquidations that caused the perpetual chart to wick through the strong low. But on the spot, there is no liquidation. This is also very important. Why? If you trade perpetuals, use the perpetual charts. If you trade spot, use the spot chart. And also, when the market is like this, I'm sorry to say this shitty, I also use the spot chart to take confirmations. So I will always chart on the perpetual. I will always look at the perpetual. But if I look at this, I will know, okay, so now we broke the strong low. Now we're going to retest, and now we're going to dump. But if I look at the spot chart, which is the relevant chart, I'm not sure if we're going to dump or not. Now, why is this all relevant? It is relevant because what I see happening is that we came down to this demand zone and we actually held very nicely. So if we see BlackRock, for example, or any major player, getting their ETFs approval, this could actually very well just rocket from here. Or if we see any other demand kicking in. I'm a strong believer, if you follow my content, I trade something partially called SMCs, which is smart money concept, which means that we gotta swallow smart money. We should follow smart money as well. We should follow smart money, which means that we should always do the opposite what retail does. Now, why is this interesting? It is interesting because retail is scared now. Maybe not completely scared, but it is scared. And if retail is scared and saying, we're gonna go to 23 whatever K, 22, 20, sub 20, we're gonna revisit 12, that's the time you must be buying. And so this is actually a strong demand zone, so don't mistake this for a bad demand zone, because this is a great demand zone. Yeah, that's it, end of story. So we could reverse from here. again, we as traders, our job is to look for if-then formulas. If this happens, then this is what I'm gonna do. If this happens, then this is what I'm gonna do. At the same time, my euro pound trade, is it my euro USD? Oh, it's flying. It's flying. I don't even know what this is. 204. My stop loss is 205. 05. Yeah, I wanted to give you this trade. I still can. I think it's gonna come back, but let's continue this. So what I think is that we took liquidity here. We talked about this already, but we took liquidity here. So all this here we have taken with this dump here in a daily demand zone. Then we started pushing, but we are creating liquidity. So my problem is there's not much down here. We actually have created a relative equal lows here. So that can be liquidity left behind, but there's still this void up here, and there is this clear point to trap retail. Like this is a very strong resistance. I'm gonna short here. I promise you there'll be millions of dollars hundreds of millions probably being shorted here on leverage. So this is why I think that the scenario that I am looking at are, number one, we see Bitcoin pushing up to this region, and we need to see a strong rejection here. A strong rejection is on the 15-minute, a strong, 15. Oh, sorry about this. A strong lower low. That would be a strong rejection for me in this area. If we see that on the 15-minute, I'm gonna get short. Then if we do take this level, that's still not a problem, because although this is a very strong level, so this is a strong level, but we can still reverse from this area, which would be the 29 to 30 region. The reason why I might think that again, like it's just all about possibilities and probabilities. What is probable? One of the major scenarios I see playing out is that we're gonna come up to 27,500 and then dump. That's just what I see, but the other scenario I see is that we're gonna push through here and either reject from 31 or reject from 30, because this is what retail is expecting. We will see a lot of money coming into the market as longs when we break this high, a lot. And also a lot of money will short here at the same time. So it will be double pleasure. so I think it's just, it is something to consider. So just a summary on Bitcoin, I'm looking at a push to 27,300-ish region. I'm looking for a lower time frame rejection. If we do see that, I'm going to get short. I'm going to update you on that. This is why it's worth following on Twitter. And if we don't take, I'm still going to be bearish a little bit even if we take this high, because I think this is a perfect trap for retail. I'm going to come up to the 29 to 31 region and then look for a lower time frame rejection and then short from there. The reason why I sold my and this is the interesting part, the reason why I sold my, I see more and more people joining in. Guys, if you are watching this now, smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. I'm building this up, gonna get to 100,000 followers by 2025, so we've got a lot of work to do. I appreciate all the support, especially if you just leave a comment, interact with me. That helps a lot. So anyway, so the reason why I sold my short here is because we built, first of all, we have a very red week, as we talked about. That's not good. So we're gonna have dark mole candles going like this, and I don't want to be a part of that. Second, I see a bunch of liquidity building up here, So what I potentially see playing out is that even though I think that we are going to push to this region and potentially 31K, I think that we are going to see a retrace. And if we see a retrace, that will be an even stronger confirmation for me to long towards the 29 to 31 region. Why? Because we have a bunch of liquidity left here, and we need to retrace to the 50% mark. So that means that we would need to come back down to around these regions. Now, this region is also on the internal structure. This is liquidity. So what I would be looking at, this. So this would be my point of interest where I want to see a reversal. So what I see Bitcoin coming back down here and then pushing. If we see, and this is important, guys, again, if we see a push, we're gonna take this liquidity. I'm gonna start scaling out of this position potentially. Let's see what it does. So if we break these and we come back down to these regions down here, which is a 25,800, 25,900 and 25,600, but basically anything below 25,900 and above 25,000, 25,900 and 25,000 is a great region to long if we see a lower time frame 15-minute confirmation for longs. But if we do take the point of interest here first, which is a 27,300 to 27,600 and reject, then I'm not going to get in on a long here. So, but this is the scenario that I see playing out. We're going to come back down to the 25,800-ish region and then reject from there and potentially target 31,000. We will see about that. Let's look at Doge. Guys, let me know. Is the quality good as well? Like, do you hear me nice? And, you know, it works nice. I'm just testing this thing out. Please let me know how it works and what you see and if it's, you know, enjoyable. And also let me know if the content is enjoyable. I just wanted to look at Doge. I know a lot of people degening on Doge, so I think it's cool to look at. Again, Doge is at a very interesting spot. Why? Because if you look at this, Doge is at this major demand zone on the daily. Aaron is still here. Aaron, you're the man, brother. You're the man. I'm going to Cape Town soon. I don't know when, but I'm going. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you, man. Anyway, so this is a very strong demand zone where Doge is sitting. So we call this also accumulation. So we have three things, you know, accumulation, manipulation, distribution. We see price accumulating, manipulating, then distributing. This is potentially what played out here. Accumulation, manipulation, then distribution, but then we are in a huge accumulation phase all the way down here as well. And what you see here is that we see from this very strong demand, we do see a break above the daily high, which is strong. We do have liquidity here, which we then take. So this is, if you're not following, we do have liquidity here. Then what we then eventually take, come back to the point of interest, which is the 50% of this wick. So we come back to this region, we test perfectly there, and then we push. Now, my problem is that we do not make a new high. That's my only problem. So we could not, from this level, we could not break above new highs. This is thanks to the liquidations that took place. I think so. So that's that. This is why I'm not that concerned about it. Then we retest. I think what could be interesting to see a retest to the 50% of these. So we also build up a lot of liquidity. So I would be interested in buying Doge around the 0.057, 58 region. This would be the interesting area for me to load up on Doge. I think we're gonna see a push, a little bit wick down, and then a push up. We have a bunch of liquidity here, and then a retest to this region. So you can easily target, this region up here, which would be between the 0.073 and 0.077 region. So that's that. Let's look at Rune. Now, here's the thing. Unpopular opinion, Rune is coming down. I think it's coming down. We had a decent push on Rune. And you know, it even traps me because I'm thinking, okay, we are actually coming down to the daily point of interest, which would be all the way up here, a weekly and daily point of interest, which would be interesting. And then we're completing the actual 50% retracement on the whole move, which would be all the way up to like $7, which would be freaking crazy. Could happen, but not today. Not today, in my opinion. And as I'm a trader, mostly do investments as well. But as I'm looking at trades and I'm trying to give you guys the best trades that you could potentially take, I am going to take a short to these regions. This is counter trading. Yes. Should you do it? No. But I'm going to tell you what I'm going to do. So first of all, we have a break here on the 4 hour. Let's look at the 4 hour. So we have a break here. This is our 4 hour low, and we have a clear break. Like it's not even a question that it breaks. Like it's a clear break, and then we retest, take most of this liquidity, and induce this order block. That means that we couldn't come up all the way up. There was no power, there was no fuel, no demand, so we couldn't come up all the way to this point of interest up here. But then what happens is that price starts, we come down, we create liquidity, and we start taking that liquidity, and we have this major push. Now let's look at volume. Actually, I haven't looked at volume. Let's see what volume says. Yeah. So like the problem is that you don't really have a lot. This is volume, you see? This is volume. And look at even after this volume, look what we had. A big wick and then a dump down. There's no volume. There's just no volume here. All this pump is nothing. It's nothing. So if you look at all this, my sincere opinion is that we are going to come down. So I want to look for an entry, and my entry will be, now we are at a daily supply zone. So that's a strong indication for me that we are going to come down. Now we're building liquidity for it to come back down. So this is what it does now. It is building. It took liquidity from here and induced the same thing. Induced the OB here. It couldn't come up all the way up here. So now it's going to come down potentially to these regions, get some fuel, you know, trap a lot of retail, and then push to this region. And this is the place where I want to be long, which will be around. So I want to go long, short, obviously short. I want to go short around these regions, and I will potentially put my stop around 1.957 will be my stop. And depending on when we see this, the lower time frame rejection, I'm going to get in on a short, potentially even selling some of my spot positions. And then overall, just to protect my downside, I think that we could come back down to the 50% on this leg. And if we do come back down to the 50% on this leg, I want to get in on the action again. We'll see lower time frame confirmation. So this region here, this 1.7 could be a great entry, but this is a 1 to 5 risk reward trade, which is definitely worth trading if you're a trader. So this is what I'm going to do on Rune. Now let's look at some forex pairs. Lots of liquidity on the Euro USD. Again, massive week ahead. I'm not sure, you know, how this whole thing gonna go. You should not trade on Alex is here. Looks and sound great. What program do you use to broadcast and crop yourself into the background? Bro, you know, this is the question that I've been asking myself as well. I use Ecamm Live. I'm a Mac user, and it's called Ecamm Live. Shout out to them as well. I love the platform. It's pretty cool. But I also use StreamYard. Ecamm Live is what I use, and I have a green background. Thanks for watching, brother. Cool. So I think looking at the Euro USD, again, depending on what will happen this week, but because we don't have, so on today and tomorrow, we don't really have anything on the dollar. We have some here, a little bit building permits, but it's not relevant that much. So what I'm looking at on the Euro USD is I'm looking at again, like if you look at the 4 hour, we are bearish. Unfortunately, we are bearish, and we're coming down to this point of interest. This is the daily and the 4 hour point of interest down here. So I think we are going to come and push down here before we break any major highs around this region, as well as 1.0768. So what I'm looking at is that I want to get in on the action. A great area would be to get in around this region on the 3 minute. If you look at it, it's a day trade, guys. It's a day trade. It's just for today. I see this as a major high decision points, 1.069. So this would be the great level that actually caused the dump here. We did not come back 50%, but we should come back 50%, which will happen potentially up to these regions, wick through here, and this is why my stop would be above these levels. So I'm going to look for, we built up a lot of liquidity. I am going to look for a continuation to the downside, and I want to see a retracement to this point of interest, and then a potential rejection on the 1 minute or 3 minute or 5 minute, depending on what I'm going to look at. And then from there on, I'm going to get in on a short around these regions, stop loss above the decision point right here. And then actually my target is going to be, you know, all the way down to the 4 hour point of interest. So this is again a decent 1 to 6 risk reward trade. So euro pound, same scenario. We have a lot of liquidity on top. So it will be very interesting what this week will bring. We will look for continuation, getting on the continuation at some point if we do break this. We are, you know, if you look at the daily, we are in this consolidation area for a long time now, but we are on the bottom of the range, and that tells me that for a day trade, this could be a very interesting long. We do need to see, we have a little bit of liquidity. So this, what I see happening now is that we are building up liquidity to come back down to this daily point of interest. At the same time, I'm closing my, guys, we missed these trades. We should probably potentially come short, sooner. This was a trade I took. Like if you, I don't know if I can show you this, but like I'm up on this trade, $600, and I already closed 2 of my positions. Yeah, well, maybe we should do this earlier. Anyway, so we could push for a high here. I think what we're gonna see is that we're building liquidity up for us to come back down, potentially like this, come retest this region, this daily point of interest, which could be a will be a very nice long. So I'm gonna look for a retracement to these regions, and then take a lower time frame confirmation and wait for target potentially these, which will be massive. You know, if we catch that, or not even if when we catch that, you know, we'll need to see what the risk reward is going to be, but I think we're not going to go lower than this. So potentially we're looking at a 1 to 5, you know, 1 to 6, but But again, it's gonna be much better because the confirmation entry will help us get there. So this is what I'm looking at. I'm potentially looking at this to push a little higher, which also could be, you know, a short. So I'm looking at a 0.86 region to come up there, reject from there. If it doesn't, we left the liquidity here, I'm gonna go short. And then let's look at the pound dollar. Yeah, so this trade is what I took and it's gone. I'm actually going to close 80% now of the remaining position. Yeah, we might want to do this before London opens because that's what we see here. You know, London opens, takes Asia high, and then we just dump. So potentially we want to start. Let me know in the chat. Should we start these earlier? Would anybody watch it earlier? I see 5 people constantly watching. That's pretty amazing. So anyway, this was the trade. Basic idea here was, you know, although we created an MSS, this was actually counter trading, so not that bad that we didn't take it together, but we have created. The only problem here is that we just came back to the 50%. So this here, although we created an MSS, a market structure shift, a change in character, I think the reason, not I think, now I see that the reason why we did that is because we needed to come back to the 50%. Now here's the different trade though that we could take together, and that is a potential push from the daily POI. So the thing is, if you look at the daily on the pound dollar, we need to come back down. So it's not a question, but we completed, we didn't complete, so we need to come back down. We didn't complete the 50%. So what could be interesting is to see a 50% retracement to this region, which again would be a very nice long. So around 1.2, 1.18 region could be a very great longing opportunity. We'll talk about it later. But if you look at the 4-hour structure and the daily structure, this is still a strong demand. So now, and even on the weekly, I marked it. Is that even on the weekly? Yeah, it's even on the weekly. It's not as strong, but it is a strong level on the weekly. So if you look at this, this is a great demand zone. So if we get great news this week, this could start pushing, especially if we see the Dixie coin, you know, maybe popping through this 108-ish and then start reversing. This could be a very great trade. So what I want to see is that I wanted to see a 15-minute MSS, and I did see that from a daily demand. So then I just saw that we came back to the 50%. Potentially we are going to reject also because of the liquidity that we are leaving behind here, is as you see. But I am actually I did this trade because it looked cool, but my idea here was that this liquidity was built up for the order block down here. So if we would see a lower time frame reversal, that means if we now see a reversal to above this, let me just do this here. If we see a reversal above 1.239, depending on the broker you're trading on, this is a very great indication for me to get long, because as I said, because this is still a demand zone. So although we're in a downtrend, this is a demand zone. So if we see a 15-minute reversal, which we actually do see, so my trade went accordingly, but we came into the point of interest, which will be on the 15-minute. So we came into the point of interest down here, and we started a reversal. Actually, it's the 5-minute, yeah, the 5-minute point of interest. So we came down to the point of interest down here, and we started the reversal. Let me just mark this here. So if we are able to break above this 1-minute high, and then I'm gonna wait for a retracement and get in on a long, targeting all the way, you know, like targeting big highs. So first of all, I want to target the 4-hour high. So if this plays out, I will target the 4-hour high up here, and if that breaks, which potentially could break, massive liquidity, so I will target the daily and then the weekly. So actually the 4-hour is almost the same as the daily, so that's good. So then we can easily target, you know, all the way up here. This liquidity will be taken, so potentially targeting 1.3, which would put us, even if you take the risk of, which is like 0.76. It's not even that big. It's a big stop loss, but if you have proper risk management, it's not that big of a risk. Even with this is like a 1 to 6 risk reward trade, which is gonna be very, very interesting. So guys, I think that's it for today. Let's see what the market brings us. Let's see what's gonna happen tomorrow. Thanks for watching. I see people have been watching this all the way, which is pretty cool. I appreciate you all. And yeah, subscribe to the channel, smash that like button, follow me on Twitter. That is so cool because I'm gonna update all of this on my Twitter. I post daily threads as well and everything, so it's definitely worth checking my Twitter out. And yeah, guys, let me know how you like this content. I truly appreciate everybody being here. Let me know how you liked it. If you liked it, then awesome, smash the like again. And yeah, see you tomorrow. Take care, guys. Cheers.